Okay, I just want to say something quickly. Has anybody else noticed that these Planet of the Apes movie titles are very similar to the DC movie titles? We had Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and we had The Dark Knight Rises. And now we have Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and we're going to be having Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. Coincidence or not? You decide! But first, my theme song! The laser is 'cause I like sci-fi. Dude is 'cause I am a rad guy. 99 is 'cause I like Wayne Gretzky. That's why I'm lazy dude 99. Lazy time and we're gonna do a review. Yes, we're gonna review and talk about movies and comics too. Let's all go watch the review. Hello everybody, I'm LaserDude99. Welcome to another LaserDude99 review. Today we are looking at Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. So of course, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is a sequel to Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which are both prequels to Planet of the Apes. Sheesh, they should really get rid of the Planet of the Apes at the end of their movies and making it really long confusing. Anyway, in this movie we have Caesar, who was the ape that was raised by James Franco in the first film, who is played by the master of CGI acting, Andy Serkis. Dude, you get a bow and a tip of the hat. But I'll talk more about him in a second. Basically, Caesar has taken him and his apes that he doused with his formula that make him super smart, and they've locked themselves away from society, and through 10 years, a disease has rung up and killed a great deal of humanity, and there are only a few stragglers left. And this is what happens when the leftovers of humanity, the people who have gone through hell and all these diseases and wars, are face to face with these apes who have been actually flourishing and growing in numbers. It's really interesting to see the culture of these apes. I mean, they're primitive, yes, but they're still strong and they're together, and they're a different culture in this world. Anyway, through the course of the movie, you get apes and humans that come together over 10 years of being apart, and how they clash, and how humans are still trying to come to grips with looking at them as more than just animals, and apes who are looking at the humans and trying. Some of them can't see the good side of humanity. They only see the evil and cruel nature of humanity. So let's just talk about the big thing in the room. Caesar is awesome. I mean, Andy Serkis, man, is he good. He is really, like, nobody can match him. Nobody. I mean, I actually think back to how did he get the role of Gollum? Think about that. Like, I know I'm going on a tangent here because we're talking about Planet of the Apes, but I want to talk about his original role in Lord of the Rings. How did he get that role? Did he have any experience with motion cap before that? Because if not, I mean, the guy is just a good actor. And I don't mean like good as in he's just good. I mean, he's a really good actor, and it all comes through the digital performance, because every facial expression that Caesar makes is all portrayed well. Now, this is the type of thing that the character's dialogue is very little. And in fact, I would not be surprised if Andy Serkis had to learn sign language for this film, because a lot of these apes were taught sign language, because it is possible for apes to learn sign language, to, you know, sign for what they want. Usually, in our culture, it's very basic, like feed me or walk or whatever. I don't know. I don't actually know what they do, but basically there was some apes who knew how to sign before they were intelligent, and so now that they are intelligent, that is actually their most common method of talking, is using sign language. And it's really interesting in that respect. There's not a whole lot of actual verbalization, but when it does, it's always awesome. For example, there's this part in the movie where the very beginning where the humans first come across these apes and then all surround these guys, and the guys are like, holy shoot, and they're just like, what do we do, what do we do? And the guy's like, we don't mean any harm, and they're like, guys, they're just apes. He's like, no, they're not. And he's like, we don't mean any harm, we'll go, we'll leave. And then Caesar's just like, go! I mean, him just saying that, you could tell each and every one of those humans that was walking there are just like, they're crapping their pants right now. Let me just tell you what I thought this movie was gonna be about. I thought it was kind of gonna be one of those humans are dicks movies. You know, like, oh, man! Yeah, I stole that from the Nostalgia Critic, but just bear with it. Man! Look at all their destruction and, oh, how awful man is. Here's a little bit of the good side of humanity. Oh, shame. I thought that's what the movie was going to be about. I thought it was going to be about, like, how this one guy who wants peace between the apes and the humans goes out there, but in the end, something goes wrong, and the humans attack the apes, and then the apes are forced to defend themselves and fight back. Not necessarily. I won't go in the whole way the movie is structured, but, like, for example, Gary Oldman. I thought he was going to be the straight-up villain of the movie. He was just going to be a total a-hole that wants these apes eradicated. But no, on the contrary, he is very, very sympathetic. Sure, in the end, he is actually going against the apes, but for the stuff that happens in the films, you can see why. And it's all relatable. And you can see that the decisions that he's making are actually, if I was in his shoes, I'd probably make the same decision because of the persona that he's given of these apes and the viewpoints on them. The fight scenes are really good in this movie. The villain, Koba, this one ape who you saw in the first movie with scars, he was experimented on, so he's the ape that sees only the evil of humanity, where Caesar tries to look on the good side. But you can tell Caesar's not no pushover. See, like when anybody just starts saying like, "Hey, I think you might be wrong on that," Caesar don't take no back talk. You speak out of line, he'll put you down. But not for good, because he doesn't want to kill apes. He views that one of the rules is apes don't kill apes. And that's actually one of the themes, that no race is kind of perfect in this movie, because you can see that Caesar always thought that apes were the better beings, that they were not susceptible to human temptation, that they were just right and they were all good and everything, where you can see by the end of this movie that that's not actually the case, especially with Koba. Actually, I think Koba's a good villain, actually, because he can tell that his methods are really like thought through and dark, and what makes it cool is that Koba and Caesar start out as friends at the very beginning. I mean, they're really close friends too. It wasn't until the humans came into the scene and their opposing viewpoints on humans clashed where they began to grow apart and become enemies. This is a kind of very interesting of a topic, because you do have people that, okay, they'll be friends and they'll be very fine, but then you come into that one issue that they disagree on, and that one issue neither one of them can get over, and therefore it splits them apart. I will say that this movie is not a movie that everyone's going to be able to get into, mostly because there's a lot of subtitles in this movie. A lot of subtitles and a lot of high emotions in this movie that make it... I can see how some people might be bored of this film, and you might be like, no, nobody be bored. No, I think that there are some ways that some people can be bored if they're not looking deeper into the movie. So this isn't one of those movies where I think it's for everyone, but for me personally, I enjoyed it quite a bit. Is it better than the first one? I'm probably gonna say yes, but I'm not there yet. Like, I'm not ready to say yes, but in the future, I'm probably saying, yeah, the second one's better. It's the things is that, okay, for sequels, this is what you got to do: up the stakes. Does it up the stakes? Oh yeah. You got to further the characters. Does it further the character? Well, Caesar's the only character that we got to continue. But yeah, for Caesar character, yes, I do think it furthers his character. And it gives him a leadership standpoint, and you really get this stern leader, stern but faithful leader. Andy Serkis' performance just carries this weight on it, even if it's mostly done with CGI. The whole thing with... I want to talk about this quickly, about how everyone's saying Andy Serkis should get an Oscar. Why don't they give him an Oscar for this stuff? I can actually kind of see the Oscars' viewpoint. Just hear me out, okay? An actor's performance should stand on its own. There are certain elements in movies that are used to increase the emotions and the tensions or whatever in an actor's performance. Music, lighting, sound effects, whatever. All those stuff can come into play to make a scene more intense, more dramatic, whatever. However, for a movie like this, a large part of the performance is CGI. So that brings up the question, is it fair to give an Oscar to someone whose performance is done mostly through CGI, where you have animators working on it and making it look better and trying to make it look as amazing as possible, where only parts of the actor's actual performance is going to be portrayed through the CGI character? Do I think that the performance is amazing? Yes, I do. Unbelievably amazing. So, does he deserve an Oscar? I don't know. I mean, the performance is Oscar-worthy. Don't get me wrong about that. The performance is definitely Oscar-worthy. It's the principle on an actor portraying his performance. There's just only so much of assistance an actor can get from his performance. As I said, lighting, music, working off other actors, that works too. But to have a whole team of animators animating it to make it look real and amazing, does that, negate some, does that negate the ability to nominate it because it has a whole team of people working on it? I don't know. Maybe not. I still think it's an amazing performance. Whether he gets an Oscar or not is not exactly important. I'm just saying that I can kind of see why sometimes the Oscars might not choose him. It's amazing that the little details and the little character moments are there to make the movies give these characters a lot more character. For example, okay, I will say mostly with the apes, because there's that orangutan ape called Maurice, who was in the first movie. He's still awesome. He's the way he talks and moves is really, I don't know what it is. It's just the design of that ape makes me laugh. I don't know, maybe, and the way he moves and talks, I'm sold. Love that ape. But for the human characters, there's only really the main guy, who's really into. And okay, the main guy in Gary Oldman. There's this guy's son and this girl that this guy's dating. So there's kind of a subplot of the son and the girl trying to get to know each other because his mother died, and he's trying to get used to this new woman in his father's life. I'm just not bad, but if it was cut for the movie entirely, I really wouldn't notice. In fact, if those two characters were cut from the movie entirely, wouldn't really notice. Wouldn't really have mattered to me, because the emotions were still strong enough for the main guy, who I forget his name, and Caesar. Those two guys, basically the representative of humanity, the representative of apes. And both of them wanting to make it work, but because of things that draw their sides against each other, are unable to actually try to make it work. I have absolutely no idea where this series is going to be going for its next movie. If these are true prequels to Planet of the Apes, we're going to need a way to see all humans' intelligence lowered. That's what we're going to need to see. That's the only way that this is going to work, because as a true prequel, if it's a reboot, then it's fine. They can do whatever the heck they want. But as a prequel, it would make sense for the way the story is structured, for humanity to lose their intelligence. Maybe the apes make a chemical weapon to decrease humanity's intelligence. I don't know what they do, but either way, I think that the movie Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is a great movie. Its CGI is absolutely incredible. There are very, very few times where it looks fake. These looks like actual apes. It's some of the best CGI you'll see, and in a very good way, because you have so many movies that are just overblown CGIs for very little reason. This has very good CGI, but the fight scenes and the stuff that they do are not necessarily overblown. Like, this isn't Michael Bay Transformers going you know, and doing all this, whoa, that's amazing, explosions, blowing up crap. No, this is like very, whenever the apes are moving and talking, it's very subtle. And very, you know, it's smart CGI, because it focuses on the story and have the story flow, and focuses on the plot and the characters. And that's what is required for this movie. It has a great main character, a good side character. Well, okay, a couple of good side characters, but only one good human side character. A good villain, very good villain. And overall, great effects. It's just a really good movie. And I am going to be giving Dawn of the Planet of the Apes a 7.5 out of 10. The only thing that kind of holds it back from a higher score for me is the pacing is a little weird at times. It gets a little, it goes from high rampant to slow to high rampant, and some of the characters I could see, like, I'm like, why would you do that? That's just utterly stupid, you know? But for the majority of them, I love this movie. I'm definitely going to be buying it when it comes out on Blu-ray or DVD or whatever. I'll be buying it, and I'm definitely going to be seeing it again in the future. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'm LazyDude99. If I don't like it, it's not worth it. See you around. Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel, and wait for more coming soon.